Hi, thanks for joining me. It's Christine Crutcher from Create with Christine. I'm here with another Tuesday tip video tutorial for you. For my project today, I'm featuring the Daisy Delight stamp set. This is from the annual catalog, and I'm making this card here. So hopefully you can kind of sort of see a little bit. I painted the daisy with a watercolor technique. It's super simple. I actually made this card for our team meeting, which was held this past Sunday. So let me do the stamping real quick and show you the flower, and we'll go ahead and make this card together. So I'm just going to bring over a piece of scrap paper. I have a Whisper White oval, and I cut it out with the Big Shot and the Stitched Shapes ovals. It is the largest one in that set, the largest oval. I just have the stem, and I'm going to stamp this in Shaded Spruce, but I want to stamp off once because I kind of want a lighter effect. So I'm just going to kind of go on. I want the bottom leaf on my project, so that looks great. Then I am done with the Shaded Spruce. And I'm going to bring over my Melon Mambo. I have a piece of Melon Mambo cardstock. It measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm going to stamp a sentiment down in the corner. It's a little hard to tell. It's a tone-on-tone effect. So let me just go ahead and ink this up. I made 10 of these for my swap, so I will say I used my Stamparatus for this part. That way I could get a perfect placement and I wouldn't have to move it, and I could just do all 10 right after each other. So while I have the Melon Mambo open, I want to show you how I did the daisy. So I did just pre-punch some of the pieces just to make the video go a little faster. So I punched out one daisy, and this is punched in a shimmery white cardstock. Hopefully you can kind of sort of see it a little bit. And I do like to use this for watercoloring. It's thinner than the watercolor paper. It gives a beautiful kind of look to watercoloring. So I'm just going to fold it in half. And I kind of want a lot of the petals to show, so make sure when you fold it you get a lot of petals kind of showing. And then what I'm going to do is I made 10 of these, and I took my re-inker and I just dropped 1 drop inside the lid of my Melon Mambo ink pad, and I actually did a second one because I was running out after 10. So I'm just gonna, I have just water and my aqua painter, and it's pretty wet. Sometimes if I find like it hasn't started and it's not wet, I just will scribble on the back of my hand to just start it. But I'm gonna make it kind of watery. I'm gonna hold in the center, and I'm just gonna paint. Say I'm gonna do 4. My goal was to try to do 4 lighter and then go back and do 4 darker every other. So every other, I just want to go, and it's not, if it's not perfect, it's not perfect. I mean, flowers are imperfect. So I think that's what makes it kind of a fun thing to try. So coloring 10 was very therapeutic. It does take a little while, and you gotta probably let them dry for about 10 minutes. Ugh. So I'm going a little fast. And then if I want a darker color, I'm trying to go into the darker middle and kind of get a darker magenta-ish look. And then I went darker underneath. So that might be a little too dark, but you get the idea. Oops. Try to cover the whole thing. If you have a few pieces that aren't covered, that's totally fine. That's what makes it homemade. I really need to buy some new aqua painters. These are getting pretty beat up. And then I can go over. I just don't want to go over my colors too much because I don't want the paper to really bleed at all. It's a little dark. It has a dark strip there, which I'm not loving, but this is an example. Then once I have them about the way I like them, I just kind of go in the middle here with the lighter and kind of color in here. You might get a little color on your finger. Just be careful if you actually touch them that you don't leave your fingerprint. I think I had one that I did that had a little piece of my fingerprint on it. Okay, so once I think I have it how I want it, I'm just going to set the whole thing aside to dry. And with the magic of television, I did one earlier, so this is what it looked like when it was dry. It was a little bit on the lighter side. So now I can bring over the rest of the pieces of my card. I do have a strip of designer series paper. It is 1 inch by 5.5 inches. I'm just gonna do banners on each edge, so I just wanted to show you really quick. I think I've showed this before, but I do put my strip in, but then I pull it back until I just see a little triangle in each corner and punch those out to get my banners. So all the way in, but then I pull back so I just see a little triangle peeking out. Okay. And now I'm ready to just adhere my pieces together. I have a Saffron card base. I have the Melon Mambo that we stamped on. The colors of the paper came right from the designer series paper, which is the Garden Impressions. That one's a little overwhelming, I will say. There's so many colors in the paper. So I try to focus on 2 to maybe 3 at the most. So you'll see I really focused on the Saffron and the Melon Mambo in this card, kind of to make a bright springy card. It was 65 degrees both Saturday and Sunday here, but yesterday and today have been kind of doom and gloom. So that's kind of what spring's like in Massachusetts. You never know. I think we're past getting snow, so that's always a good sign. And then I just put the banner maybe about a 1/2 inch maybe from the edge. And then I have a Saffron cut out with my layering ovals. This is the largest oval. If you cut a piece of cardstock 3x4, it will cut out both the scalloped and then a 3x4 whisper white for the largest stitched oval. So we're just going to add that on there. Oops, moved a little bit. With my daisy, all I did was put a little adhesive right in the middle and then just put it right in the middle. Whoops. Probably put a little too much. Just give it a couple pinches. Then I'm just going to put adhesive on the middle and the back. And put it at an angle where I want it. So that looks about good. And then I have a 1/2 inch circle. I cut it out with the Saffron cardstock. I'm just going to cut it in half with my scissors. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue for the center. And then I want this to sparkle like my flower, the shimmer. So I'm going to color right on top of the cardstock with Wink of Stella. I don't know if I've ever showed that before, but it's kind of like a fun little trick. You can color, I can't get this really where I want it, color right on your cardstock. So you just come right over, add some sparkle, so then it will kind of sort of match the shimmery cardstock. They'll both have a little bit of glitz. So that's my project, that's my card. I hope you can kind of see a little bit of the shimmer and shine. So thanks for tuning in. Please leave me a comment by Monday, April 15th at midnight for a chance to win this card in the mail from me for tuning in. Thanks so much. I'll be back again next week with another project to share.